Hi, thank you for joining us today. So, we've talked about blood sugar before, but we've decided that we need to talk about blood sugar again today. So before we begin, how are you this week, Daniel?
Oh, I'm doing great, Jennifer. How are you?
I am doing great. I'm a little congested. I have some congestion down here in my cheeks. I don't know if it's the changing weather or what's going on.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I am doing great. I'm staying hydrated. I have my water right here next to me. So I hope all of you are staying hydrated too. But this week, we're talking about blood sugar because it keeps coming up each time. We had a whole topic on it. You can go back and listen to a previous podcast about blood sugar. But we want to talk about how important it is. You can't be healthy if your blood sugar is out of balance. And so many people don't realize how many different things affect blood sugar. We just want to I want to reword that. You can't reverse or balance any other health conditions until your blood sugar is in balance. So many people will come to work with me that have an autoimmune condition, and we have to go to blood sugar first. And they'll say, well, I don't have diabetes or I don't have whatever. We have to balance your blood sugar. We have to make sure that you're eating foods that keep your blood sugar stable before we can handle all of the rest. What are your thoughts on blood sugar, Daniel?
Well, I have to agree with you, Jennifer. And you were telling me this morning, 92% of people have blood sugar problem. Like, oh my God. So everybody should listen to this podcast this morning.
Yes, yes. 92% of Americans are metabolically unwell.
Wow.
Yeah, that's crazy. 92%. So that means pretty much everyone you know, including yourself, has some sort of condition with their metabolic system. Something is out of whack. And a lot of that is geared towards blood sugar. We have to get your blood sugar in balance to restore your metabolic health.
Well, obviously, we as people are doing something fundamentally wrong if almost all of us are having problems. And it's not just the
Yes,
food, unfortunately. The food's a good place to start, but it's not just the food either.
right. Yes, it reminds me of our topic last week. I don't know the order of our podcast, but we talked about subsidized foods and
Yeah.
what foods are easiest to buy. And so the obvious ones are the sodas and the crackers and the chips and the baked goods and things like that. But sometimes there are foods that we're eating that can cause our blood sugar to be out of balance that we don't recognize as being high. They're not cookies or cakes and things like that. So sometimes we could be eating, it could be what you're drinking. Here in the South, we drink tea, sweet tea, like crazy. We don't think about the sugar in the sweet tea, or they have a Coke a day. I'm gonna have one Coke a day. Or what about all the studies that are coming out right now on sucralose? So Splenda is huge, and so I don't know if you've been seeing these too, but everyone's trying to beat the sugar thing. I still want the sweet flavor, but I don't want the sugar, so I'm going to be using sugar additives. And they're showing, I don't know if you saw this yesterday. I don't know when this is going to play, but a study came out of North Carolina, I believe, that showed how Splenda damages DNA. It's highly carcinogenic. And so how many people switched to Splenda because it was a healthier choice? I can't remember. Was Splenda derived from stevia?
No, I don't think so. Splenda, the story I got from about Splenda was it was actually they were working on making a new pesticide.
Oh, that's right.
And they found out that somehow it tasted sweet. And they go, hey, let's
Hmm.
just turn this pesticide into an artificial sweetener.
Well, isn't that curious? Who
Yeah, I
would have
mean,
thought it would damage DNA?
and what? Yeah, and then when that study came out, I was like, well, that's no brainer. Of course it does because it's a pesticide.
Holy crackamole. Yes. So many people are using it thinking that it's a healthier choice. I think that when it first came out, it was one of those, they said it was okay to heat it. Because I know like you can't heat the pink one. What is that? Aspartame.
Yeah.
That when you heat aspartame, they said that is carcinogenic. So you don't heat it. And please don't use that or drink that either. That is very carcinogenic. So I think people started switching to Splenda because they could bake with it and use it in their baked goods and things like that. And so it got really popular. Anyway, my point is people are still, they still want that sweet. And so everyone's craving these sweet foods. We have all these foods that are being genetically modified, not as the seeds, but they're hybridizing them to change the flavor to make them sweeter. When we look at heirloom, I live on a farm, we grow our own food, and we'd like to look for heirloom seeds, but heirloom apples and heirloom fruits and vegetables are not as sweet as the popular sweet apples we buy in the grocery store. And they just keep breeding them to be sweeter and sweeter and sweeter because we're all craving those sweet tastes, and we're not changing our taste buds. And so I think a lot of that, we also are not eating the bitter foods, which are so important for us. And so we don't want bitter foods, we want the sweet foods. And those bitter foods are really going to be what's key to helping you reduce sugar cravings and increase bile flow and break down fats and help clear the liver. Bitter foods are so important as far as the liver and the gallbladder are concerned. And so for me, I'm jumping to the end, right? It's so important for people to add bitter foods to their diet. Now, you said food isn't everything. Managing your blood sugar is not just about the food, and you're absolutely correct, because we have to exercise and move the body and everything too. And there's more about that, which I'll let you talk about that in a second. But I'm thinking adding the bitter foods, taking bitters before a meal, even adding things like dandelion greens. Dandelion greens are getting really popular in the grocery stores. But adding dandelion greens to your salad, arugula, if you can eat arugula, I am not a fan. I'm trying to eat it more and more because I know how good it is. It's wonderful for the nitric oxide and the cardio health, which is your field. But we need to be adding in more bitter foods and training our taste buds to not crave all these sugar foods. That's just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to blood sugar control, because there's a lot more involved here. But I'll let you talk about more what are some more lifestyle factors that help with blood sugar balancing?
Well, of course, I'm sure it's one of those things you don't like to hear, but if you're overweight, significantly overweight, it's going to mess with your blood sugar, of course. Yeah. If you're sedentary, I think it's probably impossible to have good blood sugar if you're sedentary all the time. You have to move your body. I mean, the body uses sugar for energy.
Yes.
And a big one, a huge one, stress.
That's key.
Jennifer knows a lot about this because you were telling me a story about when you were using that monitor, the blood sugar monitor.
Oh yeah, the CGM. I forgot about that. Yes.
And when you get stressed out, your sugar will go up. And you're a really healthy person, but the stress, even with you, your sugar will go up.
Yeah. Yeah, it didn't matter what I was eating. I could eat really healthy foods, but all of a sudden my sugar would be going up, and I'm like, what? And then I'd be stressed out about my blood sugar going up.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yes. So yes, for me, my blood sugar was definitely more affected by stress than the food. And I think that's in a lot of people. Inflammation. If you have inflammation anywhere in the body, that is going to affect your blood sugar, because if you're inflamed, that increases your cortisol, which increases the glucose, or pulling glucose into the bloodstream, increasing insulin. And so we have to get inflammation under control too. And there's so many people that don't realize they have inflammation, and you can have inflammation from food sensitivities. And so you could even be eating healthy foods, healthy in quotes, or it could even be healthy, not in quotes, foods that you don't realize are not affecting you. And gluten's a big one. There's so many people that don't realize how inflammatory gluten is. Dr. Tom O'Brien talks about that, and I can't remember, I can't remember his name. I'm going to butcher his name. Alessio Fasano. Anyway, he is a doctor from Harvard who said that everybody gets inflammation from eating gluten. It's just how healthy you are, whether or not you can repair and recover from that gluten. When we eat gluten 3 times a day, then we're damaging it 3 times a day. And so gluten is a huge one. And I know there are some people out there that say gluten doesn't hurt people and gluten is fine. We have another podcast about the controversy of gluten in here. But if you are inflamed, you have a blood sugar problem, then you have got to get rid of the gluten. Gluten has to go. Another one is dairy. Dairy is very, very highly inflammatory, mostly because we pasteurize it here in our country. And when we pasteurize it, we kill any of the health promoting aspects of dairy. But we have to think about what is dairy Dairy is breast milk for a baby animal. We are not baby animals. We are when we're born and we are on breast milk, but there's a reason why we are weaned from breast milk. We don't need it anymore. And we don't need the breast milk from another animal. Dairy has got to go. It's very inflammatory, especially whey. And how many bodybuilders, I mean, that's your world too. How many bodybuilders take whey protein, protein powders that are high in whey, and that's extremely inflammatory. And so there are other things that need to go. Whenever you're eating something that's inflammatory, then you're affecting your blood sugar, and that needs to get under control as well. We have to talk to people who want to drink sodas every day. We'll only have one a day. Or maybe it's not even a regular soda, it's a diet soda. And so we're back to the artificial sweeteners. And so they're too inflammatory.
Also, have you seen, I mean, you probably touched on it before, but the artificial sweeteners, a lot of people consume those thinking it will not raise their blood sugar or insulin. But studies show that they actually do, because the body, it tastes the sweetness and then it dumps a bunch of insulin into the bloodstream, and the blood sugar actually goes up, because they found people who were drinking the diet drinks are actually gaining weight.
Yeah.
And they figured out this is why.
Yes, it causes the insulin to come out, and then the sugar's not there. So then they become hypoglycemic. So then they crave sugar because they need the sugar for the insulin, which makes them eat more and crave more sugars later on. So yes, the diet sodas, the artificial sweeteners, all that, it's setting you up for disaster later on. There are some natural sweeteners. Now, Dr. Christopher was really big on honey. If you have blood sugar problems, the honey may not be right for you, but you could use something like molasses. Molasses is much better balanced, handled by the body. But if your blood sugar, your blood sugar is out of balance, your hemoglobin A1C is too high, then you need to not even have the molasses while you're getting your body into balance. Something else that can totally affect your blood sugar is nutrient deficiencies. And so if you're eating boxed goods, bagged goods, the foods we talked about a lot when we talked about subsidies, you're not getting the nutrients you needed. A lot of those foods are fortified, but they're fortified in a way that is not handled by the body. That's why when people say, well, I'll take supplements, that's my insurance. No, it's not. Supplements are not created the same way as the minerals and vitamins that are found naturally in plants. Dr. Christopher used the words organic and inorganic when he talked about vitamins and minerals in plants, which now we use those words differently, but it's how they're assimilated in the body. If my digestive tract is healthy and I have the enzymes I need, and I'm eating fruits and vegetables that are high in vitamins and minerals, then I am going to break them down and I'm going to get all the nutrients that I need. They're easily assimilated into my body. If I am still that same condition and I'm taking supplements, those supplements are in a different form. It's going to take a lot of work for my body to dissolve the capsules, or tablets are even worse. Tablets are really hard to break down. They're usually full of lots of fillers. That is lowest on the list. If you take supplements, then you do not need to be taking a tablet that has to be broken down. Medical disclaimer, do your own education here. I am not telling you to stop taking any medications, work with your medical provider, blah, blah, blah. I do not diagnose, treat, whatever. I need to make sure I say that. But I forgot where I was going with that. Oh, breaking down the tablet is going to create inflammation and going to increase blood sugar problems. And so even if I'm healthy and strong, I'm not going to get the vitamins and minerals from that either.
Yeah, those things. I stopped taking those years ago because I used to take I think it was some vitamin from Walmart. It's just one of those solid, you couldn't cut it with a knife. I'm thinking, there's no way my body's breaking this down.
Yeah. And that's what is in the boxed goods and the bagged goods and stuff too. So if we don't have the nutrients we need, our biochemical pathways are not working. We're creating inflammation. We're not able to turn all those little wheels in the body to break things down. And so that's going to just help increase our metabolic unwellness. We need to get the nutrients from all of our fruits and vegetables. But if we already have, if we are lacking enzymes, we have digestive distress or something, then it's also difficult to absorb minerals. And so sometimes, and vitamins, sometimes it is important to do things like juicing to get your vitamins and minerals easier assimilated, or to make sure that you're getting supplements from a highly reputable company and making sure that you're getting them in the right forms that your body recognizes and can absorb without creating more acid.
Yeah, and the other two that I would add to the list, it always comes down to these is you have to make sure you're drinking enough water every day, clean, distilled water, and sleep. There you go. And sleep. Because these two things, if you're not sleeping 7 to 8 hours, if you're not drinking enough water, it's going to be hard to balance your blood sugar.
Yes. Yes.
It always comes down to some of the, I mean, a lot of things that Jennifer and I teach, it comes down to basic self-care. It's simple. It's just hard for a lot of people to implement.
Yes. And so talk about those, list them out again. What are the basic lifestyle activities that people need to help balance the blood sugar?
Well, we want to look at a diet that is rich in whole, complex plant foods. No simple anything. When I say simple, no white bread, no white sugar, no pastries, none of that garbage. I mean, we already know it's not good for us. It just tastes good. That's we want to get on a moderate exercise routine. I say moderate because if you exercise too hard, this can throw you out of balance as well. When I say moderate, we're talking a brisk walk, a easy, say, bicycle ride. I like weight training because weight training, when you build extra lean muscle, it helps to balance your blood sugar. We're talking about moderate weight training, 8 to 10 rep. We want to make sure we're getting enough water. We always talk about distilled water being the best choice because it's the cleanest water you can get. We want to make sure we're sleeping 7 to 8 hours a night, but getting to bed before 12 is also better because if you go to bed after midnight, you don't really get your REM sleep. So you want at 10 o'clock, 9 to 10 o'clock is a good bedtime. That way we make sure we're going to get the deep sleep that we need to regenerate every night. And we want to take care of our stress. If you're stressed out all the time, you need to start to implement deep breathing techniques, even meditation. There's a good YouTube has a lot of good meditation videos you can follow. So there's some really good ones on there, free of charge. And like Jennifer is saying, we want to make sure you get all your nutrients. I'm sure I missed some things, Jennifer. What do you think?
No, I think you've covered it. Yes.
Oh,
I was thinking stress management too, but you talked about that too. So it's and having fun in your
oh yeah,
day. Yeah,
yeah.
joy, fun and laughter. That can be key too. Yeah, so yeah, diet high in plants, clean water, good quality sleep, moderate exercise, stress management, fun, and laughter. Yeah, those are keys. Yeah, so sleep and rest. So not just go, go, go all day long. Some of us are type A and we just want to work and produce and do everything we can do all at once. But we do have to remember to take time out during the day and community. We didn't talk about community, spending time with loved
Oh,
ones.
yeah.
Yes.
I think all of
Yes.
us have a week there. And I'll add
Yeah.
one more thing.
Uh-huh.
Consistency. People are so
Ah,
impatient these days. You have to be consistent with these things that we're talking about and be patient and just know that they will work if you give it enough time. Don't think, oh, don't do it for a week or two and think this isn't working. No, it
yes.
doesn't work that way. Give it months. Okay.
Slow and steady wins the race.
Yes.
Slow and steady wins the race. Yes. Yes. So I think we've covered everything that we can for today in this short episode about blood sugar. So it's so key. It is you have to get blood sugar under control before you can get any other factors under control. With the other things, you do have to, well, that you can't get your blood sugar in control without the good quality sleep and without the moderate exercise and without the clean water and all of that too. So that was another thing with when I had the CGM. If I was dehydrated at all, my blood sugar was out of balance too. Yes. So those are key. So thank you for those. Yes. So thank you for joining us today. Let us know if you like this episode. Let us know what else you would like to hear about and learn about. If you didn't like what we said, we want to know your comments. Too, we want to hear from you. Subscribe to our podcast. We love having all of our followers. So thank you so much.